Welcome to Girl Choose Yourself, where we're trading self-doubt for self-trust and settling for soaring. I'm Emer Zone, your host, and together we're building the confidence to create lives so deliciously bold that they scare us a little, but in the best possible way. Because life's too precious to stay cozy in our comfort zones. It's time to choose ourselves for lives that are fabulous and soulfully fulfilling. So let's go. Hi, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Emer Zone. I read quite a lot, and many of the books that I've discovered and loved have been through other books. I don't know whether this happens for you, but when an author I'm enjoying and respect sort of references other authors, other books, I often will buy that book, or maybe even all of that author's books. And that's what's filled up a lot of my bookshelves here at home. That's what happened when I was reading a book from author Dyer, who is like a real fixture from the Hay House publishing house. And he kept referencing in his book, Wishes Fulfilled, a teacher that I hadn't encountered before, a man named Neville Goddard. And Neville, and he's often just known by the first name Neville, was a mystic, a lecturer, a writer in the mid-20th-century, one of these sort of new thought leaders. And I heard so many references to him in Wayne Dyer's book that I was really intrigued, enjoyed Wishes Fulfilled, but I was going, oh, what's this Neville guy? So I bought the complete works of Neville Goddard in hardback, and then I also got it in an audiobook form, and I now listen to that book sort of on repeat. I don't know how many times I've listened to it now, but it's about, I think it may even be 15 hours of listening time, and I listen to it on repeat when I go on long walks. Whenever I feel that I need, I guess, a mental shift, which, to be honest with you, can be quite often. And it sort of is a reset for me that kind of sets my lens on life. It sets it right again. And today I want to share some of what I've learned from Neville's teaching, not as a prescription, not as like I'm advocating you have to think and you have to believe this, really just as an invitation to consider a way of understanding our own power and what might be available to us when we stop looking for that power in often all the wrong places. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And because there's something really I notice in myself and something I still wrestle with often. And I find it particularly in, with current geopolitical situations and external stressors, that I often find it easier to, focus on and to believe the bad stuff. I get pulled into that stuff, and I find it much harder to trust the good, to expect the good outcome. And if something goes wrong, I'll kind of absorb it, I'll get entangled in it, it lands, it kind of sticks, and it feels like it's true. But if something good is coming, if I allow myself to imagine ease or abundance or something that I deeply desire, there's that voice, right, that shows up almost instantly. And it'll say things like, well, careful, don't get ahead of yourself. Or you haven't earned that yet. You need to really work a lot harder. Or who do you think you are? That imposter syndrome sort of voice, all of those themes. And I think a lot of us carry this, the belief that good things must be earned through struggle. That ease is suspect somehow. Don't trust it. That wanting something and simply, expecting it without the suffering, the grasping, the proving, that's naive. That's unrealistic. That's arrogant even. the universe rewards effort and striving and punishes just this presumption. So we work harder, we manage more, we shrink our wanting, what we desire. We really trim that back to a size that feels sort of safe and justifiable. Oh, it's okay to want that. And we wonder then why life feels like it's such an effort and so small. We all know that story, I guess, from The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy arrives in the strange land and all she wants is to go home. And so she sets off down the yellow brick road. She's looking for the answer. She petitions authority, the great and powerful Oz, who turns out just to be some frightened man hiding behind a curtain. And then she accumulates companions on the road who are also all searching outside of themselves for things that they already possess. Like the Scarecrow's looking for the brain he already has, the Tin Man is looking for the heart, the Lion for courage that he had all along. And at the very end then there's Glinda, the good witch, I think her name is Glinda. And she tells Dorothy the message that sort of changes everything. You've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself. And the ruby slippers on her feet the whole time, the power to go home there, always with her, never outside her. It was never down the road. It was never behind the curtain. It was hers, and it's always been hers. And I think it's such a universal message. Most of us are somewhere on this yellow brick road. We're looking outward. We're permission seeking. We're petitioning the authority figures. We're waiting for something outside of us to shift, to change, so that we can finally feel okay and be okay inside of ourselves. And Neville is sort of essentially giving that message that the Good Witch gives. He's not offering you a new power. He's pointing to the one that you came with, that you arrived with, and that you've forgotten about. So here's what Neville teaches, in his own words, in his own distinctive way, is really just this. Consciousness is the only reality. Like our assumptions about life held in feeling, which is absolutely key, feeling, embodied, they become our experience of life. And not eventually, not as a reward for our efforting, but as a direct expression of the state that we inhabit. So Neville wasn't talking about positive thinking, wasn't talking about affirmations pasted on a mirror. And I'm not belittling all of that because I've done all of that. I've done all of that. It can be helpful in ways, but I'm just trying to get more to the core of things. He was talking about something much more embodied, a real felt sense, something much more radical than that, just mere repetition or seeing the message externally. He was talking about almost feeling as prayer. And here's where it gets interesting, because most of us, when we want something, we inhabit the feeling of not having it. I'm going to say that again. Most of us, when we want something, when we desire something, we inhabit the feeling of not having it. So it's like we're sitting at the window of the restaurant, hungry, looking in, thinking, if only. And that if only, that longing, that gap, that ache of absence, that is the state that we're inhabiting, that we're living in. We are rehearsing the lack, and then that lack becomes the reality. That's what we are experiencing. I don't think wishful thinking is neutral. I think it's an affirmation of absence. The feeling underneath it is, I don't have this. I am not this. And that feeling then is embodied. It's held physically in our body. It's a felt sense. It's held in consciousness. It generates a vibration. And that's what we're generating from. And Neville's invitation is the complete reversal of that posture. It's like, really stop standing outside the bloody window, looking inside, if only, wishful thinking, come inside, like sit down, inhabit the space, feel the warmth of the room. Let that be real for you, and not as some faking performance, not as a trick that you're playing on yourself, but really, and this is the key part, it's the genuine inhabiting of a state, the state of the wish already fulfilled, if we're using like Wayne Dyer's language of wishes fulfilled. And that, takes some practice. But I want to stay here for a moment because I think this is where we get tripped up, and I definitely have been, and I still get tripped up here. It's not escapism, and it's not playing pretend. It's not the toxic positivity of insisting everything's fine, just think happy thoughts. The difference is really where the feeling lives, and I think that's often missed, or it's glossed over, it's not focused on, and that is where the real magic is. Wishful thinking lives in the gap. I want this and I don't have it. The emotion there is like longing, lack, helplessness that needs something outside to change before anything inside can shift. The power is always elsewhere. It's like the wizard is always more powerful. It's behind the curtain, that power. And what Neville is pointing to is something completely different. It lives somewhere completely different. It's not want. It is already present. It's here now. It's not hope. It's recognition. And it really then lands within you. You're always generating from that place. And so it's really, really key that we tap into that. And it's not like anticipation. It's like relief. It's like something settling. It's like, just that feeling of course, this is how it is. Of course, this is true. And that feeling, when you can find it, and when you can this is the key part, when you can let your body actually know it, that changes something really fundamental. And now I know what the mind says to all of this. The doing mind says, but what are you actually doing about it? Shouldn't you be making a plan? Isn't this just sitting around feeling good while nothing happens? You sloth, you lazy person. And I absolutely understand that voice. I have that voice. Most of us who were raised to believe in earning and effort and striving and proving most definitely have that voice. But what I'm coming to really understand is like the doing that is required, if any doing is required, that will arise naturally. It will arise naturally. It will present itself clearly. You won't have to grasp after it. You won't have to force it. You're familiar, I'm sure, with the, don't just sit there, do something, that phrase. And that comes to mind here, right? That's the mind saying, do something. And in meditation circles, there's a joke, which is we reverse that. Don't just do something, sit there. And there's real wisdom in that. We are human beings, not human doings. And we have very much forgotten how to be. We have confused stillness with laziness and presence with sort of passivity. Meditation is this practice of being without agenda, and it's one of the most radical and countercultural things that you can do in a world that insists on measuring worth in output. Neville talks about, many other teachers talk about this too, about the hypnagogic state, which is that soft, sort of drowsy threshold between waking and sleep, as one of the most powerful gateways into this assumed state, into inhabiting this state. And this is where, the analytical mind sort of loosens. It's sort of powering down and loosening its grip. And in that space, the feeling becomes accessible in a way that it often isn't in the middle of a busy day. It's not doing nothing. That is doing the most important thing. It's almost like allowing, opening into the space of being. So I want to invite you to play with this. It's an invitation, not a doctrine. An invitation to experiment and say, why not give this a try? Try with something, say, low stakes, something you can afford to be playful with and not get too obsessive or about or grasping after. Something you can afford to be playful with and even a little lighthearted about, because ease and curiosity are much better entry points than desperation. Maybe it's something that you've lost. Say you've lost a piece of jewellery, an object that you've been looking for, whatever it is. Maybe it's a phone call that you've been hoping to receive. Maybe it's a conversation that you would like to resolve itself. Something small enough that you're not white knuckling it. You're not generating that kind of energy towards it. And then the instruction is really simple. Tonight and every night for the next week or so, just in that soft place just before sleep. Don't try to figure out how the thing comes to you, how the situation gets resolved. That's not your business. The how is not yours to engineer. That's a tough one. But we're experimenting and we're playing here. The how is not mine to engineer. What is mine is simply the feeling of it already being so. So say it's a lost ring. I would feel it on my finger. I would imagine glancing down and seeing it there clearly. And then more than the actual image or the weight of the ring on my finger, I would feel the emotion. What emotions would I feel in that state? It might be just, there it is. Pleasure, quiet pleasure. It might be relief. It might be a sense of joy. And just letting that feeling become real in your body, letting it settle, letting it be familiar. The trick is not to over-architect or over-visualize or over-narrate this in any way. It's very small scene, but it's deep in the emotion. And you repeat that a few times as you drift off to sleep, and that is all. And then this is perhaps most important part, and where I've often fallen down and sort of sabotaged myself in this practice, is stop checking. Stop checking to see whether it's happened. Checking is the giveaway that you don't quite believe it yet. Every time you check, you're like inhabiting the state of not having. That's your energetic place that you're coming from. So trust is the real practice, like ease is the practice. And you're looking to make that natural in your body as you do this nightly. The state of the wish fulfilled is not anxious or effortful. It simply knows. It simply knows. And in his books, Neville told stories of people doing this with all sorts of things, like apartments in New York during housing shortages, with money that arrived from unexpected directions, with relationships that shifted when nothing external had changed, no action had been taken by the person who was looking for this outcome and inhabiting that state. And it's not because, again, like the universe was handing out rewards for effort, but because the state that they inhabited became their experience. So start small, build the felt sense, the embodied sense. It's like you're letting your nervous system learn that this state is safe. That good things do not require suffering as some kind of down payment. That ease is not something to be suspicious of. And I get it, this is counterintuitive. But, fuck it, what if it works? Worth a go? I think so. I'm in the middle of my own experiment this week, something small and personal that I'm working with, and I will report back on my results. But I want to leave you with this, the voice that says you haven't earned it yet, that good things are for other people, that wanting without struggle is naive or childish or unrealistic, That voice is not wisdom. It's not. It's just a very old, very tired story. And you, fabulous you, are not obligated to keep living inside that shitty story. What if you tried on a different story this week? Just as an experiment, just to see. What if the power was already yours? Could be pretty interesting. Could be pretty life-changing. Sounds a lot like choosing yourself. You're fabulous. I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning into the episode this week. I hope you got a lot out of it, and if you did, please share it with somebody who you feel would benefit. And leave a review. Always greatly appreciated. Lots of free and paid resources to take things a step further. You can find those in the show notes. And hey, if nobody's told you this yet today, you are amazing, and the world is a far more beautiful place because you're here with us all. Stay cool. Bye.